Hey everybody, Matt Celletti back with Dubspot. Today we are talking about my favorite of all the iOS apps, Animoog. It's crazy, an app I bought for $1 I have more fun with than half of the stuff in my studio. Today we have so many choices between soft synths, hardware. I find myself coming back to this all the time. I absolutely love it. If you're not familiar with some of the main synthesis concepts, it could probably be a little daunting. And trying to figure out exactly what is happening on this thing can be a bit of a nightmare. So I'm going to break it down in these upcoming tutorials for you just so you can be able to jump right in and start programming your own sounds with it. So the first thing you're going to do when you open up Animoog is you're going to get the default preset. If not, just come right to it and load up the default. Gorgeous sound right away, but the first thing I always suggest before we get into anything is to initialize a patch. And especially with synthesis, the best way to learn how to work with a particular synthesizer or instrument like this is to just break it down to its raw form so you can start to build it up and understand what parameters are doing what. So I've already done this. If you want, check the Dubspot blog and you can load up my initial patch, but I'm going to do this real quickly so you can see just how to do it. So the first thing we're going to do is come to make sure everything is pretty much set to 0. So I'm going to come to the orbit, for instance, turn off the X and Y amount, make sure the delay is all the way down. We'll come to thick. We're turning down the detune and the unison to 0. For the filter, take the frequency all the way up, resonance down. Just make sure your drive is set and your envelope is set to 0. And the low pass filter is on. For the path, we are going to go in and clear the path. Take the rate down to 0. Next thing you want to do is come to the envelope section and just make sure these are all just on. So we're doing full quick attack, no release, full sustain levels. And then lastly, turn your LFO down all the way just in case. And the different mod controls have different things set up. And in the next tutorials, we'll go in deeper into these and show you how to work with them. But for the meantime, we just want to make sure everything is completely off and initialized. And remember, when you do this, save your preset. So we've already pretty much, almost there. Keyboard scale, that's the other thing I want to do. So look, we can turn on every single key on our keyboard chromatically. Or let's just use, for ease of use, we are going to use all the white keys, which is known as the C major scale. And from here, we can break it down specifically to a key range we want. So maybe we'll just work with C. And I'm going to turn my volume all the way up just in case. And there you have it. Nice, boring sound. So you save this, hold down save. It'll call up, you can call it initialize or whatever, and then save that so you can always come back to 0 point whenever you need. All right, so let's begin. First thing you want to learn about Animoog is, what is it actually? Well, Moog calls this the, now forgive me if I pronounce this incorrectly, but the anisotropic synthesis engine, the ASE. And what's cool about this is it's a dynamic waveform animator consisting of 8 timbres. And so your timbres are all listed here, and you can hear them. And you can choose from different ones. So first thing I'm going to do is actually go in, and we're going to find static saw wave. And I'm going to switch every single one of these to static saw wave. Oops. Now these timbres are actually developed and derived from classic Moog products. Stuff like the Voyager, Little Fatty, modular systems, even effects like the Murph, all sorts of great stuff. So what we've done is we've made a boring, good old boring saw wave here. So as you can see, one cool thing looking at the oscilloscope, if you come to the setup, make sure your oscilloscope is turned on. It's great because if you're just beginning with synthesis, you can see what waveforms look like and how they interact at different frequencies. You You can even see what a filter will do to them. So in real time, as we would move, or you can see what adding a resonance peak will do. Very cool stuff. So again, the heart of the ASE is basically these timbres. And now what's really interesting about this product is that the XY pad does a lot of things here. So what happens if I move my finger around here? Absolutely nothing, because we have selected the same waveform in all the areas. So what happens if we change this to, for instance, a static triangle wave? Instantly you can see the waveform change to a triangle. Same thing, let's try a square wave. Now what's cool about this is you have these 8 timbres to work with, and they are all based on this y-axis here on the grid. So as we move through, we have square wave into a saw wave. Check this out. Back to a saw. So right away you can start to see some possibilities with sound design. So let's go ahead and just, again, using basic components, saw, square. On this guy, let's use the triangle. And again, preview to hear what they sound like. For this one, we will use just a plain old sine wave. And this guy, we are going to use a pulse wave. So here we go. Wonderful. Now the real power comes in here when you put these things into orbit. So we're going into outer space, y'all. I'm going to put it on sync. You can see here the BPM. So everything is going to tempo sync to, for instance, right now, 120 beats per minute. So what happens when I turn this on and I adjust the Y amount? So I'm sick of using my finger. I want to be able to play, and I want to have this modulate on its own. Well, you can adjust the Y amount here. So let's turn up to about 5 and play. Instantly, you can see some interesting stuff happening. I'm going to move it up to about here in the center, and let's turn our rate up a little higher. Instantly, you can see it is modulating between the different timbres in here. So we're sweeping, like a wavetable synthesis kind of thing. We're sweeping through different waveforms. So very powerful like that. Now, on all these, we've been using static, saw wave, square wave, whatever. I'm going to turn the amount off again. And let's come and look at changing up from static to something else. So some of these look very interesting. For instance, let's look at this one called vocoder sweep. Sounds cool. What about, oh, let's see here. I think we had one saw to square. Let's try that one. Let's hear how it sounds. As you can imagine. So now, not only are we able to switch through sounds from the Y-axis, the X-axis as well will do things. So on this one in particular, we can switch from the saw to square. So if we want to modulate this one now, let's bring him in the middle and let's go X amount. And we'll go full 10. So you can see immediately we are able to do some more interesting things. Now imagine as you start to create different timbres of interesting sounds all over the place. So let's use that vocoder sweep here. Let's try whatever. Tune noise. Ooh, that sounds a little too aggressive for my taste. There's a very interesting one. What else do we got here? Instead of that sine wave, let's use something interesting. Prime sweep. So that's a good starting point. Let's put it right in the middle. And so immediately the x-axis is far more interesting. Let's also turn up the y. So immediately you see some potential sound design wonders here. And in the next tutorial, we're going to look at making this even far more interesting.
Welcome to Dubspot. We believe in providing you hands-on experience right away. Whether you're completely new to music and want to turn the sounds in your head into a musical reality, or you're an experienced artist looking to refine your skills and add new tools to your arsenal, we're ready to meet you at your level. For students of all ages, all levels, and all styles of music, Dubspot is here to help you achieve your goals. With course offerings both online wherever you are and at our school in the heart of New York City, we are ready to guide you through the next phase of your musical transformation. Whether you want to produce music, DJ, or do both, you've come to the right place. Come explore Dubspot for yourself, become a part of our community, and make music.